So I'm Roy Timpey here with Captain Greg Smith, and he'll be taking the boat with David Wilkerson, the new owner, to ultimately to Houston. Just do a quick overview of the boat system. Here's the ground tackle, 60-pound plow, a Delta style, I believe 45-pound Bruce. There's about 10 feet of stainless chain. And then it transitions to 3/8 BBB galvanized, and about 280 feet of that. The reason for the transition is to protect the first. If you put the first few links of the galvanized on that big stainless anchor, they get hammered with galvanic corrosion. The chain is marked in 25-foot increments with wire ties. Okay. So a single wire tie is 25. 2 links together with wire ties is 50, etc. When you get to 100. The next wire tie is wrapped twice around the link. So the first wire tie wrapped twice is 125, and then 150, etc. on out. The Bruce, also stainless chain for about 10 feet, then it transitions to galvanized. It's only got about, I think about 50 feet of chain, and then it transitions to anchor rode, or just half-inch 3-strand line. Rope drum, high and low speed. The bar, we have kept the bar on the starboard lazarette in the cockpit. You put the bar in and go high and low speed. The only other thing, which do not allow twists to go down there, because if it does get twisted up, you won't be able to get out the hawse pipe. As you suck it in, it can form like a pyramid and eventually not want to fall down the hawse pipe. You can almost always fix it by going in through here. But if you can't fix it that way, you'll have to go up and going aft. This is the ventilator for the composting head. It's got a little muffin fan there. This is just a symmetric ventilator, letting some air in. That is the chimney for the Dickinson diesel heater. There's another length of pipe and a Charlie Noble. You can either put the Charlie Noble down if you want, or you can put the length of the pipe and get a better draw. But they are in black ditty bags located on a shelf right about here, unless David's moved them. All right. Then, one thing, this is more for David. This thing is not the best design in the world. They got a stainless steel plunger and an aluminum body. You got to keep this oiled, otherwise it will seize up. We use a boat hook and grab this loop and unhook him. Okay. And then when you're done with him, we hook him back up. That one is not much of a corrosion issue because he's not getting the spray like this one is. But it's best to keep them both a little bit lubricated. I have, if we're staying around for a while, I'll tie the boom into the gallows of the gasket mid-position and then drape this over, because I worry about a downpour creating enough weight to damage this. Okay. It's never happened, but I've been concerned about it, so, if you do that.
It gives you a little boost.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've got the solar, the wind, radars there, radar reflector. This is the only lazarette other than the propane locker which drains overboard. So if you're going to store these for the gas grill, store them here, and not some other lazarette or the propane locker, for obvious reasons. Then that's actually the winter cover, which David has. This is the first time it's been this far south. That could be stowed somewhere. All right. That green colored extension cord can go into the Honda and then plugs into the 30 amp on the side. If you want to, and
some power.
Yeah, there's a 20 amp battery charger underneath the steps in the aft cabin. So like if you did run the batteries flat, right, you could
start here and at least start getting something back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go into the
You have 2 reef points? I'm just
Yeah.
repeating that because I didn't have the audio on. Go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
2
I see the
reef
glue
points.
Pringles, yeah. They can
So
hook
you
there.
got it. You hook here, and then this one's the outhaul. Actually, I may be
Yeah,
wrong.
and then you got
One
one
is
for your first reef, one for the second.
Yeah, and one I think is a topping lift, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
okay.
So
Yeah, I can see the blue one's the topping lifter. But
fully batten main. Well, no, you have that
Yeah.
cable that
okay.
goes up there, and then it. Actually, I may be wrong. We have 3 reef points. It's embarrassing.
No, that's all right. But, I mean, first and second should be all we need. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking to start out conservative rather than blow something out. You know?
Oh yeah.
But that's all right. I mean, I understand how to do it.
Right.
The fact your lines are here, and then you're using this winch to pull them down.
Yeah. My
And
recollection
that's your
is
jams there.
Yes, jam
Okay.
pleats.
Okay. Perfect. That's what I need to know.
You got that, Krista?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Now going. I guess on the engine.
Wait till we get inside.
Okay.
Because you're going to have to pull up. Are you going to pull up the...
Maybe I will. Should I? You guys can stand over there.
Yeah, he wants to access the engine.
Well,
Or not. I mean, you could show him...
I'll talk.
This
Oh,
hatch
the
is
pen.
enough. I mean,
Yes.
I don't need to get in that hatch. That's usually if there's a generator and some other stuff. But
Okay.
this one pretty much shows.
Yeah,
I've heard
I'd
more
recommend
guys
that.
get killed with that.
So, okay. Perkins 4154. I have tended to keep the alternator belt a little loose because it's also running the water pump for the ethylene glycol.
Okay.
And the water pumps are kind of expensive, and I don't want to put a lot of force on the bearings. So if the batteries are kind of low, and you fire it up, and if all the batteries in parallel, it might squeal the alternator belt, and you can hear it, and then you can see the tack dip.
Okay.
If that's happening, I'll throw it onto only one battery. I do put all 3 in parallel to start, but throw it on one and let it
Get
that
her
chart.
running, and if you're shrieking, back her off so
Yeah.
you're not loading the alternator, and the regulator can handle it.
Well, back off on the number of batteries.
Right. Okay.
And if you're typically running like from here to Fort Pierce, like within 10 or 15 minutes, you can start adding more batteries. You know what I mean? If you're, that through hull, there's a washdown, a saltwater washdown. There are 2 hose fittings in that little cubby there. The aft hose fitting is fresh water. The forward hose fitting is salt water. And we typically just run a garden hose, which we have hoses in here up to the front to spray down the ground tackle. Oh, and for David, more than you, when you go to sea, make sure you lash down the anchors. Do not
Leave them just flop.
Yeah,
out
do
there.
not leave them with just the chain and the gypsy holding them.
Okay.
Which is,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
When they leave unexpected, it's not a good
It
thing.
sucks. Yeah. And then they're going to do it when you don't want to go up there.
Yeah.
So that's about it with this.
Do you have some small lines up there?
Yeah,
in
there is a little line I've used
Okay.
up there, a little gasket.
Okay.
For the transmission, it's a Borg Warner Velvet drive, and what they want you to do is check it. There's a dipstick, and you check it hot. So basically, the only way to get an accurate reading on it is after you've run the boat, hop down here right away when you shut it down, and pull that dipstick. It's fine, but you can drive yourself nuts and obsess over it. Like if you don't run it enough, it'll show low. And what I've noticed is if you check it cold, it'll be above the full line. Then when you fire it up, it'll pump it into the cooler and it'll go below the full line. And then as it warms up, it'll expand.
Okay.
But if you're not aware of that, you'll be, oh man, I'm over full. Oh, I'm under full, and you will.
And are you running for fluid?
It's
Straight 40, or is it actual gear oil?
No, it's actually automatic transmission fluid.
Okay, ATF.
And if you see pink under that, there's only 3 ways out of that thing: the front seal, the back seal, and there's the shifter has an O-ring. And really the only thing you can fix at anchor is the O-ring.
Okay.
you know, you can take the shifter valve apart and put a new O-ring in, but I won't expect it. We just actually, Dave has the logbook, but I think it's within about 800 hours that thing was rebuilt. So I would not expect you to have any difficulty with that. I'd be surprised. You know, that's about it for here. This, go on.
I was going to ask about if for any reason we suck here, because your fuel fills are over here, right? Under that seat right there?
Yes.
And I don't know whether Dave's filled it or not, or went over full.
Yeah, there's a dipstick, and we filled it when we got here. Dave has a logbook, but I think we've only run about 10 hours since we filled it.
Okay.
Or maybe not even.
And she holds right around 100.
Yeah, 50 per side.
Okay.
There's a Ray core. Actually,
There's a lot of them have a prime system right over here, and that's what I wanted to.
Right,
do you have an electric pump or is
Yes.
it manual?
Do you want to mention about when you do fill with fuel,
The gang's all here.
not to go
Oh, careful,
100%
careful.
on one tank?
Everybody clear?
Yep.
Yeah, let me pop this up.
Okay.
Sorry. And I will
How are
show
you?
Hi.
I'm Greg Smith.
Greg, you look like your picture.
And you must
I'm
be
David. I'm
you must be Dave. And I don't know this guy.
Who are these strangers?
Hey, how are you, Tom?
Good. Good.
Success.
Okay. So, let me. Are you videoing, Krista?
I am.
Okay. Let me just go in here. Dave, you missed some of the beginning, but you'll get it.
Well, I've had it a couple times, so.
But you'll get it on the video
The
too.
video got it.
No,
Perfect.
So here's the dipstick. Same dipstick for both tanks. You can see it's glossy right here. So
Right.
we're basically full on this guy. We have, this is the valve. So this valve and this valve, we've been running on that tank. See the,
We got it.
here's the Ray core with a vacuum gauge. When you run, if you want an accurate reading, like right now, I think the Ray core is a little above zero. You just break this seal and then see it drop.
Yep.
I mean, because you're going to be
Richard Henderson.
the air. It's the vacuum relative to the air in the gauge, so the gauge needs to be released.
Zero,
to the atmosphere.
yeah.
Glad to have you.
But anyhow, it's
Okay.
usually been quite low. And I want to just check something.
Sure.
All right.
So, oh, where do you put that? The best way to check the fuel filter bowl.
There is no way to get it.
Yeah, it looks good. I don't even actually. There might be a few water droplets, but no.
But it's not a half an inch or anything.
No, there's. You can look at this, but this
Yeah,
is the way.
Almost see it from here.
Or
The
can
way
you
your
see it?
light is. Yeah.
Okay, I mean that's what I do because it's so far down here. It's like
Yeah.
hard.
Okay.
This
Is your
is
pump?
an electric pump.
Okay.
So if you do get air in the system, that would be the best way to bleed it.
All right.
Um,
And then
So that's-
down on the injection pump, you got some bleeder screws, I imagine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now the other thing you can do, it's like a crude fuel polishing, but you can open this valve and then shove that in and pump from this tank into that and run it through the Ray core.
Okay.
But it's not true fuel polishing because you're not sucking out the very bottom and mopping out the sides of the tank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's
Something.
Filtering. Yeah.
yeah, it's fuel polishing-ish. Okay. So let me think. Oh, this is a mechanical oil pressure gauge that runs down. There's the main oil gallery, the electric sensors in the front, near the front of the engine, and then at the back there's a little manifold that has the pressure switch for the idiot buzzer, and then it comes off of here. And we put this in because the electrical one, the sender went bad and it caused a panic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now if that were to happen again, you open
You
up
can at
the
least
seat.
double check with a manual gauge.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, so we don't normally obsess over this. Once you're hot at 2,000 RPM, it should be about 32 PSI roughly. Hot idle will be about 20.
Okay.
Whoops, what am I doing here? Oh, this
The net's got it.
now, are you running?
I am.
Okay, this is, oh wow, Dave, you're kind of low on, you're low on your voltage. 11.8. You may want to do the Honda. Well,
Why? I haven't run anything all day.
well, we'll check back there. Well, the refrigerator is running and it's hot. And
Okay.
so at any rate, the stuff that I never wanted to get bumped off accidentally has these.
Okay.
Water pressure on, that's like all water. Then the wash down, you choose either fresh or salt,
Okay.
and it'll come out either one or the other. The water pump is down there. There's an accumulator. You hold 200 gallons of water. Right now, I think it has about 180 in it. I recommend you fill up before you leave. So that's the ignition. That's the buzzer for that. Propane, to turn the propane on, he's got all the valves off. We turn this on, then we turn that on, then we would light the stove or the oven. Radar, sailing instruments are the depth sounder and the wind, which is on that panel. The nav station is everything else, which would be the Garmin and the AIS. Actually, I'll turn that on and let it boot up a while.
The radar. You have a switch separate.
Well,
for
yeah,
that.
the radar. And do you want to see the radar work, or you're okay? It's a free
Well,
go.
I mean, as long as if it's there, that's good. Because Houston, we might have fog going in, which would
Right.
be nice
Yeah.
to have it.
It's in the
Yeah.
aft cabin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
over the chart table there.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. This actually, he's got his tricolor light on. Okay. Not sure why. Maybe it got
Probably
bumped.
just got bumped.
So this would be the deck level nav lights. The tricolor light is screwed up. I don't know what happened, but the lens shifted. So we were sailing at night one time, and we heard a cruise ship talking to a tugboat captain about the weird sailboat that was sliding sideways.
Okay.
And
that was you. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So eventually go up there and fix that.
yeah, we actually we have a new one,
replacement for it.
a new one in here. But now let's see. Let me do bilge pumps. Should be right here. Correct. The manual one was by that lazarette
Yeah,
where
so
the
the
oil
hand-
pressure gauge is.
Okay, and I saw a handle in
Yeah.
there where your fuel pump was.
This is the override for the lower bilge pump, the red one. And then we've got the upper bilge pump. These are on separate circuits. So the bilge pump switch, which is lower, is that lower red one, and the bilge pump labeled, which is higher, is the white one.
That's the
Okay.
Garmin
And
because we
this-
turned
this
on
is
that
the
switch.
override. Okay.
That's the override only for the lower one. The white one doesn't have an override.
Okay.
This is the override for the shower drain pump,
Okay.
which is in that plastic box.
Okay.
For the shower that's in the aft.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's your sump down there.
Yeah, refrigerator is here.
Okay.
You won't need this, but David might. I don't think you'll need it. For the air conditioning, we have to switch the valve. Hold on. The air conditioning is using the same valve. So it'll come here and then up for the air conditioning.
Okay.
But for the engine, we have it this way, because you really can't run the air conditioning and the engine simultaneously. There's a spare Johnson pump, the red one, brand new in the box, under the V berth, the very bottom starboard side.
Okay.
The
Do you want to flick that switch for
I
the?
will.
Okay.
I will. Okay, he's got battery charger on. So we'll turn that off and turn that off. So this is pretty. This is actually an intensity for the instrument lights, the wind and the depth, and that would turn the instrument lights on and off.
Okay.
That's about it. This is your alternator output.
Wait a minute, I didn't capture that.
Well, that alternator output is kind of obvious. And oh, the
Is there a
tricolor.
manual regulator at all for the alternator? Or is it
It's
purely automatic?
Yeah, it's on the.
Or you don't have a rheostat
No.
type like this?
No.
Okay.
I'll get the beeping in a bit.
No problem. No problem.
This okay, this fuse is for these two banana plugs, and this fuse is for the nav lights because the previous owner replaced it with just a switch.
Okay.
You know, because he wanted the up and down concept. You know, the wind and solar come in here Okay, battery number 2. Oh, this is actually for the battery charger. Now we'll turn the battery charger on. So at the battery charger there's a fuse, but then they ran a line up and they put it directly into number 2 here. So this is a fuse to protect the wire between the battery charger and the battery, right? Because if this chafed the ground without this fuse, you'll have a fire anyway, even though that fuse
And you
blows.
have a tray somewhere with spare fuses.
Yeah, there's some spare fuses in there.
In one of these drawers.
The bottom drawer.
Okay.
Likewise, this is also for the battery charger. This is for the wind and solar. We've got 2 lines coming up to lower the resistance to try to increase the efficiency of the wind and solar. Now,
And this looks like a main shutoff that kills
No.
both of those.
no, it doesn't. This is actually to kill the ignition.
Okay, that's your shutdown.
Well, we use this, but if you're worried about somebody stealing the boat, you can take that red thing. And
Okay.
it'll be a little bit harder. Not much harder. Headband. Here's another voltmeter here, 12.7. This lights up when the wind is generating something. It's not generating much right now. The ammeter is near 0. So if you need to turn the solar off, like if you needed to de-energize this, you have to turn the solar off, turn the wind off, and then pull those fuses up or actually, if you do this, I'm sorry, oh, he had this off.
Oh.
Oh, no wonder.
Oh. No
That's
wonder
bad.
the batteries didn't charge.
Yeah, but you could even overrun the,
Oh dear.
It's all right. It's not. There's a pretty steep learning curve for it.
Okay.
There is.
We'll get it. Yeah.
Yep.
Now you're
Okay.
putting some current in it.
so this connects,
So
Now
now,
we
you've
can-
got the wind generator and the solar putting in.
right, but now the wind generator was just like trying to power, that was not good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, that means the safeties on the wind generator weren't working.
Okay.
You know, like if it overspeeds and all that.
Yeah.
So anyhow, you can see the solar is contributing the vast majority of it.
Right.
And so if you want, this line here is fused at the other end. But if you want to de-energize this, you turn this off, turn that off, turn that off. Now all this is dead, and you can fool around
We
with
should
it.
be able to leave the solar running.
No, I know, but I mean, if you
Yeah.
wanted to work on it, or
Yeah,
you know, you
okay.
want to get
Take
everything.
the input out.
But that's everything on there.
So now we got everything working there, plus the generator going, plus the
Yeah, now
solar.
this LED should come on. Hopefully this, I guess we don't have that much wind.
No, it's
Yeah.
pretty still today.
There it goes, it started.
She's
I mean,
starting to get green. Yeah.
but that's only a few milliamps. You know what I mean?
And then you've got a constant bulb down here somewhere.
The battery charger is under there.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
And the inverter is
There.
right there. You can turn that on.
Question for USB port or anything like that, or a 12-volt cigarette lighter.
12-volt
On the
cigarette
wall.
lighter's there. That's on when the nav station is on. That
Okay.
one. And there's one on the pedestal, which is on when the compass light is on.
Okay.
And there's
And
one in
they're-
the forward.
V-berth up there.
No, not the V-berth,
in the
the,
cabin.
Yeah, right by the ice box, kind of
Okay.
just forward.
All right.
Run silently, you flick this, and then you're no longer transmitting. That blue light's on.
Okay.
So if you were,
Going by someplace you don't want pirates to find you.
yeah, but otherwise you're transmitting.
Okay. And no receive. That's the radar's old enough. There's no screen for AIS. It's just
No, it's on the chart plotter.
Okay.
And
All right.
just see the
Wheel gusher. Yeah, I saw the handle earlier. That's good.
let's see. Autopilot is in there. It's just mono helm. Are you recording?
Yeah.
This engages it. Depending upon the sea condition, it may want to pop off. And what we've done is taken a piece of blue
Painter's tape.
painter's tape and just tape it
Okay.
down. It's not strong enough that if for some reason it really wanted to pop off, it could tear the tape. But, you know, it won't.
Sounds like you got other problems at that point. And that's what the blue tape was for. I found that earlier.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I
Well,
found it
that
down
is for
below.
the head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Multiple
Yeah.
pieces.
And for masking when we do bright work and whatnot.
Okay. the autopilot is, I think, self-explanatory. It's, I don't have it on now. This would be flashing.
Okay.
You dial this to the number of turns in the rudder, which is 2, and then you can hit auto, and whatever course you're on, it'll attempt to maintain. If you're not happy with it, you can do ±1, ±10 to tweak it. And then if you're doing something, you can hit standby. If you disengage that, or if it can't maintain the course, it'll beep a lot, and you know,
Okay.
you'll have to intervene. But it'll warn you that it's upset.
Okay.
You know.
And the breaker is on the breaker panel there.
Yeah, labeled autopilot.
All right. Should be able to figure that part out.
Why is this not have a fix yet? Settings. It's got 4 satellites. So this is the AIS. So Dive Master is that tall powerboat at the dock. Sees the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that'll help you when you're going into Houston. You'll see the ships, and they'll
Right.
see you. Like this guy right here, Slow Mo, Forever Young, Five and Dime, Seeker. Let's see, it actually goes pretty far usually.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've seen vessels out here. Actually,
Did you want to show
struggles
the information from one of those vessels so that David understands what he's looking
Oh yeah.
at?
Well, you can click on this and then hit AIS vessel, and it'll give you data. Pleasure craft, 12 meters by 4 meters.
And their speed.
GPS speed is 0. And stop playing.
Use course and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it should be
yeah,
on
it'll give you
yeah.
here the GPS speed and depth. Now, see, this is fascinating to me. Garmin doesn't even bother putting a clock in here, right? Because until it gets a fix, it won't.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, 'cause the icon for your own ship should pop up once you get it.
well, no, it,
Puts you right in the middle of the screen there eventually.
yeah, but it has a question mark. It's not gotten a fix yet. Home, nav chart, right home, settings, system. It's wait me. Oh, I just all right. So let's give it some time. Use the radio. That's about it, right?
Is that a remote for the?
Have a sail plan?
Yes. In that backpack, wherever that ended up.
It's around here.
So you're headed out tomorrow?
Well, hoping to. I mean, it's going to blow pretty good by midnight tomorrow night.
Right.
But we can get ahead of it a day.
Uh-huh.
Hoping we can be on the, not quite the leading edge where it's really blowing.
Okay.
Get ahead of it. At least have 2 days of wind out of the north and get us down the beach a ways.
Right.
Yeah.
But hoping if we can get out of here by noon tomorrow, and you know the wind's starting to blow at about 10 o'clock, and by 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday, I mean it's going to be getting snotty out there. Here,
Yeah.
we're down there 100 miles. That'll
Right.
help.
Be better.
Yeah. So
You guys are going north, aren't you?
Well, yeah, but we're going.
Yeah, but we're going by
Well,
car.
no.
but,
It's going to still be a storm.
True.
Oh, by the way, this thing. Okay, one last word on the fuel. I've been using this FPPF fuel conditioner. It treats up to 240 gallons, and it's 236 milliliters. So I've been using this 10 milliliter graduate, right? So if I add, 30 gallons, I'll put 3 of these in.
Okay.
And likewise on the 5-gallon jerry cans, I'll put a little over 5, like 5.5,
Okay.
in there when they're empty. It seems to be working. Like I don't have a big algae issue, but I'm not claiming this is the best stuff to use. I'm just claiming it seems to work
Yeah.
for me.